I lost my place here. I've got to get it back again. I'm just hoping that my voice holds out. Not that I've been speaking at great length to a class today. I haven't. But I went to the doctor this morning and I had a shot for my eczema. And all of a sudden, I got a runny nose and I got a sore throat. Is it the shot? I don't know, but we'll see. I'm sure it will hold out. It just may be a little difficult for me to speak. So just hang on there. And if my friend Michael Levinson is watching, which he probably will do either now or later, I just want to wish him a very, very happy birthday today. I will not say how old he is. He is a little bit younger than me. However, it's his birthday today. I know he's going to have a good time. He's going to enjoy it. So, Michael, happy birthday. And if I come across other people's birthdays as I'm doing these broadcasts, I'll attempt also to do the same. My wife actually has a birthday calendar. It sits in our bathroom. We used to use this when we're in Holland because they're very popular. You go in anybody's bathroom there, or they call it the toilet, actually. The whole room is called the toilet. You would see hanging there this calendar, and it's got everybody's birthdays on who are important to you. And therefore, you don't need to keep remembering it. You just go in the bathroom, look at the calendar. Oh, there it is. And you send them an email, text, phone call, card, all the above. Who knows? Today's reading, which is why I'm supposed to be here, is how do you see it? How do you see it? I wonder what that could mean. Well, it's actually a pretty good story. The first quote is from Amanda Gorman. I had to look her up. I had forgotten. I should have remembered. She is the young poet laureate who wrote the poem for Joe Biden's inaugural address when he became president. Whether you support Joe Biden or not, I'm sure you heard her, and she is a wonderful poet. I would say it right up there with Daniel Mercadal, who is our poet laureate at Creative Life Spiritual Center. She's pretty good as well. Excuse me. This is obviously a quote from the poem. There is always light, only if we are brave enough to see it. There is always light, only if we are brave enough to see it. And Ernest Holmes says, conscious commingling of our thought with spirit is essential to the well-being of every part of us. Now, he doesn't say commingling of our thought with spirit that's essential to our well-being. He says conscious commingling. Why? Because our thought is always commingling with spirit. It can't be otherwise, because if spirit is all there is, then our thought is automatically being thought within the greater mind of spirit. And that's what Ernest Holmes says, conscious commingling. In other words, you could call it prayer if you like, conscious commingling, which is another reason why we always recommend to live your life in awareness. And then you're aware of what you're thinking. And the stuff that goes on in the subconscious mind, well, that's why we do our spiritual work. So we get rid of all the crud and we replace it with good stuff, because that stuff that's in our subconscious is still churning around. And if it's churning around in our subconscious, it's churning around in the mind of spirit, because we are an extension of the spirit's mind. Here's the story from Reverend Christian Sorensen. A young man lived on the outskirts of a village and envisioned the day he would have a large and comfortable home for his family. After nearly 2 decades of saving, he accumulated enough money to build. With the help of the townspeople, his dream was completed. On the eve of his move-in date, a massive earthquake shook the town. There was damage to many homes, and this man's house became rubble. The next morning, the neighbors gathered around the man's destroyed dream, feeling his sadness and the pain of loss. When the new homeowner awoke, he started his day with a bit of prayer and meditation. As news of the devastation spread, he went through town on the way to his building site. Along the way, he stopped at the bakery and picked up a box of pastries. Arriving at the site, the villagers greeted him by extending their condolences. He responded by giving each a pastry. Disturbed by his serene composure, the villagers asked how he could be so calm after so great a loss. His response surprised them. "The earthquake hit last night," he said. "Not tonight, not tomorrow night," which would have been after we moved in. "If we had been living there, all my family would have been buried under the debris. It is a good thing the upheaval hit when it did, or I would have lost what was most important to me, my family." Now, Reverend Christian Sorensen asks us, do you see your life filled with light? Are you brave enough to live in the light? So in other words, when you look at a situation, do you see the glass half full or half empty? Which way around is it? It's not easy to do what this young man did, is it? I mean, it really isn't. Could you have done it? Could I have done it? I don't know. Maybe. But I do know this, that as we continue to do our spiritual work and build up that strong foundation, which we always talk about, then we become more and more able to deal with situations like this that aren't desirable. We begin to look at a different part of it. It's almost like when people do really horrendous things, and we honestly really don't know why. There are probably some people, I'm sure there are some people who are born with major mental deficiencies. Psychopaths, if they're born that way, don't have the mental ability to be responsible citizens, responsible human beings. So I think it's our job to figure out a way to help people to become responsible citizens. How do we do that? Well, there's many ways. One is at a basic level, not necessarily dealing with psychopaths, but at a basic level, it's by setting a good example. Why? Because I'm sure the villagers, when they heard this explanation, thought, wow, could I have done that? But I'll bet you, for the most of them, it changed their day for the better when he said that, and it helped them to look at life in a different way. I think this is a great story. It tells us, look, when things happen, stop, pray, and then look around and think, what good can come out of this? There's an old saying with which I'm sure you're familiar that inside every cloud has a silver lining. I'm sure you've heard that. And this man demonstrates to all of us how we can actually approach that. I think it's pretty cool. You know, the affirmation is, I always live in the light of the divine. I always live in the light of the divine. You know, you can use these affirmations. You don't have to repeat them day after day. You can if you want. But you can also use them in your daily meditations. You can actually begin. In fact, I've not done this, and it's just dawned on me. What I can do is next time I go into my meditation, I can take one of these. I can take the ones that I like, and the ones so far this month are cool. I think they're straight to the point and they're short. Wouldn't this be a great way to start a meditation? I always live in the light of the divine. That sort of sets the stage for you to just go into some quiet time or do some breathing and just repeat, I always live in the light of the divine. You could use that as a mantra, actually. It'd be kind of cool. Well, that's the end of the reading. One thing I wanted to say is in the Science of Mind magazine, which is like that or like that. I know on Zoom you can't see it. back to France. On Facebook, you can switch it around so you can, on Zoom, you can actually switch it around so you can actually see it. I've not found a way to do this on here yet. There's lots of good stuff in there. The problem is that most of it is it's too long for me to actually read a whole passage. If I read a page out of this, it's longer than the readings that I'm doing now, because the readings, yes, they take up a page, but they're broken up with affirmations, and they actually take up about half to two-thirds of a page, depending on the actual thing itself. Well, I am losing my voice. Therefore, I'm just going to wish everyone out there, if it's your birthday, fantastic. Happy birthday. If it's close to your birthday, happy birthday. If it's not your birthday, happy birthday when it comes. And guess what? This, my uncle always taught me this, and it always struck me as, when I first heard it, I really thought, well, why did he say that? But then it's only dawned on me it was a different way to look at things. He said, David, during the day, the sun is always shining. We don't always see it because the clouds are in the way. I thought, wow. Yeah, when I look back at it, I thought, what a good way to look at things. And of course, the clouds can be metaphorical as well. With that, I'm just going to say, please enjoy the rest of your day. Please enjoy the next 24 hours. Please look after yourselves. And most of all, try and put a smile on the face of somebody you meet. My wife did it a bunch of times today. We worked out at the gym, and then we had to go to the mechanic, and then we had to go to a big box store. I won't say which one. But it took her about 5 minutes to get out of there. Why? Because she was speaking to different people on the way out. And you could see she put a smile on their faces, complimented them about what they were wearing. And then she told a joke to different people on her way today. And she told a joke to the guy on the way out. So she got people to have a smile on their face. Isn't that cool? See, that is one way of giving. It doesn't always have to be money. It can be many, many things. It can be, hey, wow, I really like your shoes, or gee, that was very gracious of you to help that person there. Just something to compliment. You can always compliment anybody about something, even if it's just the fact that they're, I used to complain about the people at the gym who were there. They'd obviously never been taught how to use the equipment, and they're doing it completely incorrectly. And it's really easy to criticize them. For instance, if somebody is, instead of pulling down on weights, they actually just go back and use their body weight, they're not getting the most out of the exercise. But then it really dawned on me, every single person who comes to the gym today deserves credit. Why? Because they're doing something to improve their life, even if it's only going down and talking to other people. I thought, yes, every single person in this gym today deserves credit. There's lots of different ways of looking at things. And believe me, it takes a lifetime until it starts to dawn on you. And if it dawns on you a lot earlier in life, fantastic. So until next time, please take care of yourselves. Namaste.